My name is Carlos Gutiérrez-García from the University of León, Spain. It is a great pleasure to be here with you. Of course, I would have liked to be there with you today, but this has not been possible. I hope to be able to visit your beautiful country in the future. In any case, thank you very much to Professor Nisem and all collaborators for organizing this event, which is important for the development of martial arts and combat sports in Malaysia and also at the international level. The work I'm going to present is entitled Bibliometric Analysis of the Scientific Production on Martial Arts and Combat Sports Articles in the Web of Science databases, Science Citation Index Expanded, Social Science Citation Index, and Arts and Humanities Citation Index from 2010 to 2019. This is part of an ongoing project we are carrying out since about 10 years, which is focused on monitoring the development of martial arts and combat sports research. Research on martial arts and combat sports has constantly grown during the last 3 decades. We can see this, for example, in the number of specific journals on martial arts and combat sports, which are published nowadays, in the development of scientific societies focused on this field, or in the number of scientific events which are constantly held worldwide. Taking this into consideration, the aim of this study was to describe and analyze the evolution of scientific research on martial arts and combat sports during the second decade of the 20th century, taking as a reference the paper indexed in 3 Web of Science databases. This study is a continuation of a previous study which was focused on the first decade of the 20th century, and it was presented at the 2011 Scientific Congress on Martial Arts and Combat Sports held in Viseu, Portugal. We followed the same method proposed in this earlier study, with just some minor adjustments. First, our sample included martial arts and combat sports articles indexes in the Science Citation Index Expanded, Social Science Citation Index, and Arts and Humanities Citation Index. Papers indexed in the Emerging Sources Citation Index, which is also included in the Web of Science core collection, were not included because this Web of Science database, which was created in 2011, that is in the middle of the analyzed decade, could have biased our analysis. Inclusion criteria for articles were the following. They should be cataloged as article or review in document type field of the databases. Other documents were not considered, like bibliography or book review. They had to be related to martial arts in combat sports or to any sport, style, or activity within this group of practices, with no regard to their sports, utilitarian, healthy, or performance approach. And finally, this article should be focused on martial arts and combat sports specifically, or referring to martial arts and combat sports in their sampling procedures, results, or methodology. All these articles were included. A list of about 280 searching terms was made up, including the different names and spellings about martial arts and combat sports. Generic names were also included, such as martial arts, martial sports, fighting sports, Budo, etc., as well as truncation terms. We excluded Qigong from searches, as this body practice cannot be properly considered a martial arts. Searching strategy was carried out in topic search field, gathering information from title, abstract, and keywords. Advanced search, Boolean operators, wildcards, quotation marks, search combination, sub-search, and all these possibilities were taken into account for improving our searching process. Then, obtained results were filtered individually, and only those selected went for the analysis. Our bibliometric analysis was focused on martial arts and combat sport styles in the articles, chronological evolutions, journal publishing articles on martial arts and combat sports, academic disciplines of those journals, language, authors, institutions, and countries of published articles. We didn't carry out the analysis on grants and funding agencies because most of the retrieved documents did not include this information. All these variables, but martial arts and combat sport styles, were analyzed with the Analyze Results tool provided by the Web of Science. Descriptive statistics analysis based on total and relative frequencies of the mentioned aspects was carried out. Our results: a total of 3,496 documents, 89% articles, 11% reviews were retrieved. They were published in 13 different languages, but mainly in English. Among the 38 martial arts and combat sports registered, the most represented was Tai Chi, about 25%, Judo, 18%, boxing 12%, wrestling 12%, and Taekwondo 10%. As you can see in the slide, we have the Olympic sports of Judo, boxing, wrestling, Taekwondo, and fencing among the most researched sports. Also, we have Tai Chi, which is very focused on health. We also have mixed martial arts, also, of course, boxing and wrestling that have a professional side. So these were the most popular. The distribution of documents per year ranged from 225 in 2010 to 500 in 2019. The mean is 350 documents per year. And as you can see clearly in the slide, it increased progressively over the decade. As for journals, 1,009 were represented, highlighting Archives of Budo, Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research, International Journal of the History of Sport, International Journal of Performance Analysis in Sport, and Journal of Sport Medicine and Physical Fitness as the most relevant. As you can see, the number one, it is clearly Archives of Budo, which is nowadays the only specific journal of martial arts and combat sport which has impact factor. A total of 951 journals, that is more or less 94%, published 10 or less paper. This is one or less paper or papers on martial arts and combat sports per year. Regarding academic subjects, up to 180 subjects areas published papers on martial arts and combat sports. Sports science had the 42% of these documents. Then hospitality, leisure, sport and tourism, medicine, general internal, rehabilitation, and physiology were the top 5 areas, whereas 120 areas, that is the 67%, published 10 or less papers during the decade. The number of authors publishing papers on martial arts and combat sports was quite high, more than 10,000. Our colleague Emerson Francini, Bianca Miarca, Strejkovic, Amari, and Strejkovic-Privisen were the most productive. Only 68, that is less than 100%, published 10 or more papers during the decade. Again, this is one paper or more per year. These authors were affiliated to 3,364 institutions. The 5 most prolific institutions were the University of Sao Paulo in Brazil, Harvard University, University of California System in the United States, Gdańsk University of Physical Education and Sport in Poland, and Hong Kong Polytechnic University. Only 203 institution researchers, that is 6%, published 10 or more papers.
Finally, documents retrieved were associated to 89 countries, highlighting the United States of America with 26%, People's Republic of China, Brazil, England, and Poland as the most prominent. As you can see in the slide, we have North America with the United States and Canada, Asia with People's Republic of China, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan. We have Europe with England, Poland, Spain, Germany, France, Italy, Netherlands, and we have also Africa with Tunisia. So we have representatives of all continents. Up to 15 countries, 17% published 100 or more papers.
As for discussion, we can say that scientific production on martial arts and combat sports have maintained constant growth during the second decade of the 20th century. It was about double compared to that of the first decade, which was 1,527 papers, according to Gutiérrez-García et al.'s study. This increase is also reflected in the number of journals, of subjects, of authors, of institutions, and of countries publishing papers on martial arts and combat sports. As you can see in this slide, this growth is from about 150% to 250%. The evident progress in martial arts and combat sports research shows that this field keeps on consolidating and diversifying. For example, despite a significant amount of research has been published on Olympic martial arts and combat sports such as judo, boxing, wrestling, and taekwondo, nowadays the most researched martial arts is Tai Chi, because of its close association with health. In this regard, the study of martial arts for all health-related aspects can be a key aspect for the development of the field, as our analysis of subject areas shows. In any case, we must not hide the fact that most of this research is developed by groups and individuals which are not regularly producing specific research on martial arts and combat sports. So, thank you very much for your attention. Terima kasih banyak atas perhatian Anda. Thank you very much again.